mode. This is again another Game Informer story that came out. I'm just going to bring up that story here. So this is a little bit of an update. So this is kind of cool. This is that hub that you were mentioning previously. Right. Quick thing, obviously, if they are trying, this is, you know, the initial sort of community bit that we had at the beginning of 2.0 where you could go in. I think this is the same kind of thing, but they've just updated it.
Right.
Notice there on the left, it looks like we've got some Main Street USA buildings.
That's correct.
Looks like we've got like a train station and a few shops, etc. Because also I noticed it in the Mickey Mouse image as well.
See, but that train. Well, I was going to say don't be misled by the track, because that's definitely not train track. That's definitely
that looks like the Brave. That looks like the Brave track. That looks tartan like.
Good. I'm glad you noticed that.
Yeah, my Scottish heritage just kicked in then.
No, it's not that. I don't want anybody to be excited, because everybody wants that train from 1.0 from the Lone Ranger set, but I doubt it's going to happen. So
no. Okay, so there's a few new toys mentioned in the another Game Informer noise. This is something I really kind of want to learn a lot more about, is what they're doing to the toy box. There's going to be a new device called a dispenser, which is like an oversized gumball machine, which is loaded with toy capsules. You press on it, and a capsule comes out, and it opens up, and it basically gives you a toy from something you've already unlocked. A bit more randomized. Don't know.
For me, my personal opinion, I mean, it's cool. It's a great little idea. But for me, I think it's a waste of space. If there's a toy that I want, I'll go find it in the menu. I'm not bored enough to the point where I want to hit a button and says, "Oh yeah, I remember this toy." You know, I mean, for me, if I'm bored in the game, I'm just gonna go do the new farming or something, or play the new expansion disc. But it's a cool little idea for those who haven't really explored the toy box as much, and have forgotten it, and you know, that's kind of cool. But other than that, I'm 50-50. Like,
yeah,
I try it, right?
Yeah, I kind of fall into that same category of going, well, I'm always in the toy box, and so I'm aware of what toys and stuff. So for me, it's not going to be much use. But I can imagine if you don't maybe play around, and and also if we've got the 3.0 toys as well, we are now reaching a point where there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different toys. So bringing in random ones will be just kind of just cool for people, because there is going to be they keep adding to the list, right? And there's just a lot of toys now.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a cool little concept. I think it would have done amazing in 1.0. At the point of 3.0, for those who have already played the game before, it's a 50-50. For the new player, I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch. And there's also going to be a new proximity detector, which allows the creator to be a lot more flexible. There's going to be allowing players to assign a toy to a character and then have several invisible concentric circles radiating from their bodies. Each section can trigger a different response. Cross one of the outer rings, for example, and a townsperson can tell you to back off. Get closer to it, and it can be configured to run away. Or if it's an object, you can have it to a sound effect when you get too close. And there's probably a lot more options to it than that. But what's your initial thought on the proximity?
I honestly love that. It's going to make the toy boxes that are existent right now for all the artists and those who want to tell a story in the toy box. It's going to make it so awesome, because now you have the ability to I call it acting. You give the ability of your townsperson the ability to act in your toy box. You get too close, you can make him be scared and he runs away. Or you can, if they get too close, they trigger a line of speech. You get closer, it triggers a second line of speech. I mean, it's cool. It seems like it's something that's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be explored by all the toy box builders, and make them do a lot of great things. I mean, it doesn't seem like you're limited to doing one thing. You can do so many things with this tool. So I like it. I like the idea of it.
See, I was more drawn not necessarily to the townsperson being acting, was more this could be quite useful for like weapons, for like activating weapons. So if you've got like a mine, or if you've got like turrets or something, you could maybe have them set off until you get close to them. So it might make to the toy box is not as unstable, because if all the weapons are coming, or you've got, rather than trying to use those trigger points, trigger zones for activating sort of enemy generators, which I use a lot. I could use the proximity rather than a trigger area, so it might be a little bit more stable. That was my initial thing. Kind of, I could use it kind of similar to like a trigger zone, to set the things off, and sounds. And it's just going to be real fun to get in there and have a bit of a play around with those different like options and see what we can do. It could be cool, like you say, you've got to chase down some rabbits or something like that, and when you get closer, then the rabbit runs or something like that, which could be pretty interesting. Which kind of leads us on to this that was say about like rabbits running away, the path tool. This apparently the concept is simple. Players draw a path dot by dot in their world, and each dot is added. The path attaches to it. When it's finished, creators can use it as an AI path. It sounds simple, but it has some big implementations for the series. Players can use it to create actual paths for AI drivers to navigate, or to create rail shooters. What did you think about that news for the path?
I think it's probably my favorite new feature, or logic toy, or whatever feature that they're introducing, because that was one of my frustrations when I was working on some toy boxes. My townsperson wouldn't, go in the direction I wanted it to. There was a point where I was trying to do a Pirates of the Caribbean toy box, and I wanted it to have, a pirate townsperson or somebody that looks like a pirate, whatever, chasing one of the other characters in there. And it just, the existing tool, I mean, there was a lot of workarounds, but it was just so complex. This seems to be so simple, and I like it. I mean, I also like the idea of not just a townsperson, but you can position a camera, to actually follow you side by side and change it to pan or something. It almost feels like you have a what do they call them? It almost feels like you have one of those like those fake. I guess one of those. You put like a GoPro on one of them, the little flying helicopter things.
A little drone.
Yeah, like there you go, a drone. I don't know why I couldn't get that word out. Anyway, it's like there's like a drone following you around, and you can get these perfect shots of your toy box if you're trying to tell a story. I also think I'm trying to remember, they had a name for it during the live stream. They were calling a spline. It's like a spline toy or something like that.
Yeah. I'm just looking here. They allow for cameras can sweep on a path or improve 2D side scrolling. Paths can be varying widths and can be used to trigger such effects as fireworks. They can also allow more elegant use of NPCs and triggering switches. In general, to me, this feels like a massive step forward. It feels like something that's going to completely maybe revolutionize the toy box for artists, because it could make things a lot easier to do. It could make, that whole idea of you make villain, you make your enemies follow a specific path, so you could make them, because you've got that marching orders one at the minute, but it's really hard to work out, and you put it in, and the townspeople don't reappear, and it doesn't work properly. So the path could be really good for enemies. It could be used for, you could have a little townsperson, and they walk from where you started to where you want them to go, rather than just randomly wandering around how they want. So like specifically in interiors, they will just wander around aimlessly, and you're going to try and find them, or you can, hopefully make them be positioned more. The camera action sounds a lot more fun. You could, at the minute, you've kind of got you've got the pan, or you've got either whizzes to it or you flash to it, and that's pretty much the only way of using cameras. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think there's I know the Toy Box artist community is quite excited about the news of this path idea.
One thing that I do hope that they do implement in 3.0 is they need more logic toy tutorials for those who are trying to build And that one introduction to the toy box in 2.0 was great. It just wasn't as great. It just said explore, like they'll give you like one of those like games, like let's say for example that pinball game.
Mm.
And the way to learn from it was to explore it and see how everything's connected, as opposed to having tutorials. Like these new Logic toys sound amazing. Both the concentric circles and the spline toy. I hope that there's more tutorial in the toy box. So.
I'd be interested to see if they can use that El Capitan theater to link into their own videos or to have a few introductions.
That would be great.
Because it's like these toys for maybe your average Joe, who I've never met. They won't make this isn't going to make them excited. It isn't going to sell a video game to anybody. This is the thing with this kind of information. This stuff only really appeals to a certain demographic, a real hardcore fans of Disney Infinity, who I might say are probably maybe one of the most important, because they're the ones creating the weekly content. They're the ones that are constantly driving this new content all the time. And I'd love to hear a lot more about the toy box as time goes on to get us excited, because essentially if it's at that time you could lose, if an artist drops off, if you have too many people dropping off, there's not going to be such cool toy boxes.
Yes. All the things that you said, correct.
I agree.
No, I mean, no, I'm with you 100%. It's just it's for me, it's like I'm very thankful for all the toy box artists. I mean, I admire a lot of them. I mean, I follow a lot of them on Twitter, have conversations, and obviously, everybody loves Mighty Gitis, but I love what they do. But I know there's so much potential out there of people who can build amazing toy boxes that just don't have the patience or don't know how to use the Logic toys, and I feel like that's something that could be so improved in Infinity. That, I mean, we might have some untapped talent out there. And I mean, I know, Roger, you had it going for quite a while. It's just that was something new for you in 2.0. Yeah. And I'm sure there's somebody out there who could be doing amazing things too.
There's 2.0 brought a lot more people to the table for building toy boxes. The Toy Box Summit last year, I think, has been a very big drive for toy box artists to feel like they want to create content, because there might be a reward. Doesn't necessarily there's going to be one this year. They kind of glossed over that. But I think in general that, this year the toy box artists have really been knocking out. The content is a lot better, but then again, the tools are better. The tools are so much better than they were a year ago for toy boxes. So when you are getting, the new latest toy box tales or the latest top 5, there are still things happening that you're looking at and going, wow, and there's still that drive to do it. And I think that's important for them to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so let's so as a quick, just again, if you haven't already done so, check out our Facebook group, and we've got lots and lots of discussion going on over there. So that's a great place. You can find us as in Disney Infinity and Beyond. Loads and loads of bits and pieces going on over there.